Hello, this is 13 with Superior Mobile by 13. Today we're doing our walkthrough. We're going to start on the other end of the shop and end in the office, which is a little bit of a spoiler alert. That's where the big changes are. So let's go. Look, it's the corner. Nothing's really changed here other than I got some shoes, but we'll start off with the project shelf. Really, you'll notice it's pretty empty. That is because the only job that I've really got in the queue right now is for a fog light replacement for a RAV4, which is, if you can't tell, super unexciting for me, but whatever, it's work, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to do it. And this top shelf is totally empty other than just storage for stuff that may not ever get done. You'll notice perhaps that it's a little bit cleaner up here and down there. There's a little bit of organization going on, but mostly out here it's about the same. I am disappointed to admit to you that all of these drawers are still empty 5 months later, other than the one drawer that still looks exactly like it did. So I did not come through on my promise that I was going to address the organization in January. To be honest with you, the fact that all of this stuff is still out on the countertops is a little upsetting to me, but I'm gonna get more into that a little bit later in the video when we get to the office. So let's talk about what I do have in the shop, which is Jesse's amazing 92 Dodge Stealth, the Nighthawk edition, which has been a really fun long-term project here. It's actually not supposed to be a long-term project, but unfortunately, here I am on my third order with Oracle, which I hate so much as a company because they cannot mail me the same product twice, unless of course it's the wrong product that they can mail me twice, but not the right one. And there's been some other product supply issues, but it's just been kind of, hiking uphill through molasses. It's been a little challenging, but it is making progress. It does give me something to do. I've got the headlights swapped out. This is the wiring that I've started running for the integration with these, and I've also done the taillights. There's going to be a later video on this anyway, but I did these tail lights, that bar, that brake light. Moving on over to this table, this is just a really sad story is what this is. So for Earth Day about 2 weeks ago, I decided I wanted to plant a tree, and behind the warehouse is this big barren sandy landscape. So I took the entire day off. I bought a bunch of compost, amended the soil, bought a bunch of mulch and put that back there, and I used all these blocks and I built a beautiful little tree ring. And that lasted a whopping 6 days before the property owner's son found it and ripped it out and destroyed it all. And he, when I went and talked to him about it afterwards, he just says, no trees, because nobody effing cares about nature anymore. And it breaks my heart, man, because that was both a lot of money and a lot of time and love that went into that project, and it just turned into a big waste. So I broke up my tree ring and I'm going to chip away all the glue and I will reuse these in my own yard. But unfortunately, I can't seem to bring any nature into this complex, and it's just such a barren wasteland. They cut down all of the trees, and so I was trying to just take advantage of some space behind the warehouse where no one would notice, but clearly I got caught, and that was a risk that I had to take, and I took it and I lost. Meanwhile, I do have one random tire. I need to put that away. My bike tire went flat last night when I was riding back from dropping off Evie for charging, so I just dropped the bike off to get a new rear tire put on it. Over here is just a bunch of corian that at least I am still keeping that out of the dumpster. I've got a dude who uses that for like CNC templates or something. So when Eli, the cabinet maker in the complex, takes out a corian countertop, he leaves it over here rather than putting it in the dumpster, and then I hold on to it until the guy can come by and get it. So that'll happen sometime next week. The air filters are a new experiment that paid off really well. So I took these air filters and I put them all along the bay door when I did the paint job for these, and then I ran the exhaust fan so that basically all the air coming into the shop was filtered, and it actually really worked. So I didn't have any little pixie dust bunnies, whatever, in my clear coat, and the finish came out a lot better. So that was a successful experiment, and I'm really stoked that I did that. Let's step on inside here. It is almost pretty much all exactly the same in the showroom. I don't think anything's changed in here. If anything, I should probably be a little upset about that, but no, it's all exactly the same. And then the bathroom is going to be exactly the same bathroom that it's always been. But I'll tell you what is completely different, and that is the office. So right off the bat, you can tell that the desk is now over here and the couch is over there. And so in January, we decided to just kind of mix things up and try out a new setup. I've always not liked the big headspace associated with that hutch, so I bailed on the hutch, got rid of that thing, put the desk up against this window. I'm saying me like I did it alone, but Danielle and I took a day off of work together and we did this as a team because, you know, she likes doing this stuff and I just just kind of wanted to change. So there's a lot less stuff in here, a lot less clutter. I do have my construction book out so that people, when they're sitting here waiting, they can actually see what I started with and how I built this place, which is just pretty exciting because like a lot of people don't understand that I built this entire building by myself with some help of some friends and stuff like that, of course, but it's been a fun journey. And so that's out, and on the table we got stuff that I'm working on. I'm gonna go to the doctor, so I gotta go to the intake form nonsense. There's a wedding, there's a card I need to respond to, there's a card I need to send out. That is some other nonsense that I'm gonna deal with in the next few days or so. But this is my new setup, and I guess I would be silly to not mention my chair, which kind of is the reason that I started with some problems. I'm not blaming the chair, it's definitely my fault, but I bought this Herman Miller chair shortly after I recorded that last video, very end of January, because I had such a good year. I wanted to reward myself with something nice, and I decided I wanted a new chair. So I bought this chair. That chair is really expensive, and I don't necessarily think it was a good investment purchase by any means. However, I will say this, I also bought this chair, which is also a Herman Miller, and this one I am absolutely in love with. It is just like the most gorgeous, most comfortable chair. It's perfect for a shop chair, and of course I got it color matched with that. This one was just under $700, and I'm not gonna be ashamed about that because it was worth every penny, and I'm happy with it, and that's the most important thing. That chair in there was somewhere around $1,200, I think, and that's where I went a little crazy, and I can admit that I probably did not need to be spending that much money on a chair. The previous Herman Miller chair that I owned in here, I got used, and I spent about $500 on it, and it serves me great. In fact, I just took it home, and now it's my dining room chair. So yeah, that's the big changes around the shop. All right, so let's start talking about the personal side of this business here, okay? Which is the 13 of the Superior Mobile by 13. The last video, I was over the moon. I was super happy. Last year was killer. It was amazing. I had a lot of really cool projects, a lot of really cool customers. It was just a great year overall. I don't know what happened, but I swear to you, man, January 1st, I just fell off a cliff. The phone stopped ringing, emails stopped coming in. I just hit a wall. Business stopped. And I didn't really notice it until February came around because I was still running a bit of a backlog and I had a bunch of things that I had started. I had projects to keep me busy. So January just kind of flew by and it was a little disconcerting. But by the time February had hit and I had nothing in the schedule, I started to freak out. I don't want to say I was suffering from, and I don't want to use big scary terms like depression and anxiety, but in short, I was suffering from depression and anxiety. So I mean, like I'm fine, like whatever, but like I was not fine. I was really bad, to be honest. It sucked. I place a lot of my personal self-worth on these services that I offer, that I provide other people. Also, I enjoy the work that I do. I enjoy being creative. I enjoy building with my hands, and I can only do that for myself for so long before I just run out of money and I can't afford to play on my own projects. So I like doing my job for other people, and the income dried up as well, and it got really icky. March was the worst. March was the month where I literally didn't make enough money to pay rent that month, and so I ended up having to go into my cash savings. And last month, which was April, I paid rent and I paid half my car payment. So I have to stay optimistic and stay positive and assume that things are gonna get better. Otherwise, I'm just gonna turn into a total mess. I've been through icky times many times before. They're never fun. Obviously, we like good times. So I shifted a lot of my energy towards working on my website and on social media crap, doing stuff on the computer. And to be totally honest with you, that's not where I like to be. So it has been challenging for me. Of course, everyone has their input as to what I'm supposed to be doing and how I should change what I'm doing in order to help fix the business and this and that and the other. And I I don't know, man. I don't run a business. I am a craftsman. I am an artist. I just like building stuff, right? Dealing with the gate issue was a super, God, that one got me in a real bad headspace. And that is finally getting resolved. Like literally this week, if not today, tomorrow, by the weekend, the gate situation will be handled. I started a project at the house in January as a distraction project, which was a concrete block wall. There was a footer pour video that I did that's somewhere on my channel, which was an insane task and undertaking with some friends, and that was really cool. And shortly after this video gets posted, I will finish editing and I will post the actual construction of that block wall, and that took about 4 months for me to do. It was a good hands-on project that took a lot of focus and detail from me, and it kept me going for that time period. So here we are on May 2nd, and I finally felt at least, I guess, confident enough to finally get back in front of the camera to say, hey man, I'm sorry that things didn't go well for me this first quarter. I don't know why I'm apologizing to you. It's just I have a responsibility to provide good services and try and be good in the world, and I'd like to think that that's enough to coast me through. I don't ask for a lot, but this first whole quarter has just been dead. Now, with that being said, I have survived, especially last month in April, I survived almost entirely on the amazing generosity of the community in this area, of the neighbors. After I couldn't even make rent in March, I started being a little bit more vocal about where I was financially, and I started telling a lot of the neighbors, the local businesses and stuff, I was like, listen, I actually need some help right now. I am struggling. And so Chris over at Autofilm Guys, man, he brought me on board to be working on his boat, so that's been a lot of fun. That's why, I don't know if you noticed my beautiful glistening tan right now, because I've been working on his boat a lot lately out in the marina, and that's been really fun. It's a nice change of pace, gets me outside, doing electrical work, wiring, stuff that I like to do. There was also Dan over at West Florida Precision Machine, and they were wiring up control panels and needed assistance at that time. So he brought me on that as a contract gig, and I wired those up into the evening, couple nights, and that was cool. So that helped me coast by. And then also Warren down at National Doors, he had me install speakers in his company truck. None of these people needed me per se, but when I was telling them about that I was hurting, they were just like, cool, we'll find something for you to do. And those 3 jobs really honestly it was such a lifeline. It got me through. Now, that being said, business really does need to pick up for me, and I need to be able to stand on my own 2 feet again. So if you are an existing client and you have been thinking about getting something done on your car or whatever, now's the time, man. I haven't had this much availability in years, and it blows my mind. And I guess what's really weird is, in retrospect, I'd be like, well, why wouldn't I have just done those cabinets? Why wouldn't I do shop organization? And then it's kind of similar to that argument of when you're depressed, why don't you just go outside? It's because that's the last thing in the world you want to do. And being in the shop when there's no work in the shop is a dark, heavy feeling. Motion creates emotion. So I am also really grateful for, Jesse and his, I've done the 3000 JT was his, the Viper taillights, which I don't think I made a video for, was his, and now, so this is technically his 3rd vehicle that I've worked on. He's been a lifeline too. I'm really grateful for that. And it's worked out for me for so long that people have recognized that, appreciated that, and hired me and paid me to do things. And I have prioritized people over profits for so long that I just assume that it's just going to keep working out. It has to work out. Otherwise, I am going to have to shut down and, be miserable working for someone else at a 9-to-5 type gig. But no lie, man, health insurance and a steady paycheck has really sounded really appealing in the last few months. So yeah, I think that about covers it. For the record, I am drinking coffee coffee today. Shout out to Copenhagen Cafe, my favorite local joint. I went sober for, I don't know, probably February to March, because obviously drinking or smoking and anxiety/depression don't mix well. There's no need to throw amplifiers into the mix. So I had to sober up just to keep the emotional regulation. To summarize all of this though, I am optimistic. I do believe that things are they have to get better. They have to. My old go-to saying is, if you're going through hell, keep on going. So it's been a little hellish lately, and I have kept on going, and I will continue to keep on going. So thanks a lot for listening to my little crybaby sesh here. Also, I would be remiss if I did not at least give one shout out to Rob DeCrane, rest in peace, my brother. Major friend and partner and advocate in this industry. One of the few people who I really did love and respect. Has passed away as of a few weeks ago, and that is hard. So love you, man. See you on the other side of the golden rainbow, or whatever this thing is. Man, that's not a way I want to end a video, but that's all I gotta say. This is 13 with Spear Mobile by 13. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll talk to you again hopefully in a few months, and definitely with some better news, okay? See ya.